Welcome back to Teenage YT Stories. Tonight's story is about a 17-year-old girl who thought she created the perfect lie to hide her secret boyfriend from her parents. But what she didn't know was that her parents were already at the same mall from across the restaurant. And somehow, the text message her dad sent during dinner made the entire situation even worse. Let's listen to the story.
I lied about where I was going. My parents were already there. They watched me walk in before they decided what to do. I didn't know that part until way later. And honestly, that detail made everything worse. I want to be upfront. This was not a spontaneous lie. This was an architecturally sound lie. I had load-bearing details. I had a backup story. I had timed the whole thing so there'd be no weird gaps in my location that my mom could sense through whatever sixth sense moms develop specifically to ruin their children's social lives. I'm 17. I live in suburban New Jersey, 20 minutes from the kind of mall that has a cheesecake factory and a parking garage with its own ecosystem. My parents, both of them, which is already important, are the type who want to know exactly where I am at all times, not because they're controlling exactly, but because they are chronically, pathologically interested in my whereabouts in a way that I have never fully understood. The lie was, I was going to my friend Preethi's house to study for AP Bio. Preethi is a certified honor student with a reputation so clean she could get away with a felony on character alone. Invoking Preethi's name was a deliberate choice. I had used her as cover before. It had always worked. She was my structural alibi, and she knew it, and she charged me $5 per use, which in retrospect was a bargain. Where I was actually going, the Garden State Plaza Mall with my boyfriend Dylan, who my parents did not know existed because Dylan is 19 and a sophomore in college, and I had done the math on how that conversation would go and elected not to have it. I told my parents I was leaving at 2. I left at 2. I even wore my backpack. Empty, completely empty, just a prop, because a backpack says studying in a way that nothing else does. My mom waved from the kitchen. My dad said, be home by 7. Normal, clean, perfect. I was on the highway feeling genuinely good about my own competence when Preethi texted me. Hey, so her mom just texted me to say thanks for having you over, lol. I said no problem. You owe me 10 this time because she asked follow-up questions. Fine, expected. Preethi handled it. We were good. Dylan and I got there around 2:30. We did the standard mall loop, got boba from the place near the food court, went into 3 stores neither of us planned to buy anything in, debated whether a $90 candle could be justified on any philosophical grounds. It cannot. Completely normal Saturday. I was relaxed. I had no reason not to be relaxed. At 3:15, we ended up at this Italian place on the 2nd floor, Trattoria something, because Dylan wanted to eat an actual meal and not just food court stuff. Nice-ish place, white tablecloths, the kind of restaurant that costs more than you expect, but not so much that you check the menu prices outside first. We got a table by the window that looked out over the main atrium. Good people watching. I ordered the pasta. Dylan ordered something with steak. We were mid-conversation about something completely unimportant. I think it was about whether the new Christopher Nolan movie was actually good or just long. When my phone buzzed. It was my dad. The text said, "How's studying going?" Normal check-in text. My dad sends these. I typed back, "Good, almost done with the cell biology unit LOL, with a confidence that I would like to have back." He said, "Nice, your mom says hi." I said, "Tell her hi back." He said, "Will do." That was it. I put my phone down, ate my pasta, did not think about it again. Here is what was happening while I was eating my pasta and not thinking about it. My parents were at the same mall, had been since 2:45. My mom had a nail appointment at the salon on the 1st floor. She books them 6 weeks in advance. She's been going to the same nail technician named Gloria since 2019. This is a sacred and immovable calendar event. My dad had tagged along because he wanted to look at something at the Crate and Barrel. This was not planned to coincide with my lie. The universe just decided to participate. They had come up to the 2nd floor to eat. They had been seated at Trattoria something at 3:05. They were 11 tables away from me when my dad sent that text. He texted me, "How's studying going?" from 11 tables away while watching me eat pasta with a 19-year-old college sophomore he had never met or been told about. He did this on purpose. He had spotted me when they were being seated. He had told my mom. They had made a decision together, at that table, to say nothing, to watch, to wait. I found this out 3 weeks later. That detail, that they watched me for an unknown amount of time before my dad picked up his phone and sent the most casual possible text, made the whole thing retrospectively so much worse than if they'd just walked over and confronted me on the spot. A confrontation I could have handled. The knowledge that they sat there and observed me having a good time lying to them while composing a breezy check-in text, that one lives in my head permanently. Dylan and I left the restaurant at 4:20. We were heading toward the parking garage, arguing in a friendly way about which exit was faster. I said the south elevator, he said the escalator near H&M. We had this argument every single time. When I heard my name, specifically I heard it in my mother's voice. The sound of your name said by your parent in a public place when you are somewhere you are not supposed to be is genuinely unlike any other sound. It is not loud. It does not need to be loud. It lands precisely, and it lands fully. And every single system in your body receives it at the same time. I turned around. There they were. My mom with fresh nails, coral pink. I noticed this with the weird hyper-focus of someone in mild shock. And my dad with a crate and barrel bag, and an expression I had never quite seen on him before. Not angry. Not even disappointed exactly, just settled. Like someone who has been waiting for a thing to arrive and it has arrived and now they can proceed. Dylan, to his credit, did not run. He introduced himself. He shook my dad's hand. He said, "Sir," twice, which under the circumstances I found both sweet and completely useless. My mom looked at him, then at me, then back at him with the expression of someone doing rapid calculations they will share with you later at a time and place of their choosing. We stood there for 45 seconds that felt like a documentary about time. Then my dad said, "We'll see you at home." Not a question. My mom smiled at Dylan in a way that had no warmth in it. They left. Dylan looked at me. I looked at the middle distance. We went to his car, and I sat in the passenger seat and just did not speak for about 4 minutes. Then Dylan said, "That was bad, right?" I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "How bad?" I said, "I genuinely don't know yet, and that's the scariest part." I walked in at 5:30. Both of them were in the living room. This was already unusual. My dad is normally in his office or watching something on the other TV. Both of them in the living room, not watching anything, is a formation that means a conversation is happening whether you want it to or not. My mom asked about Dylan. I told her. 19, college. We'd been talking for 2 months. She absorbed this. My dad asked why I didn't just tell them. I said I knew they'd have a problem with the age thing. He said he would have had a problem with the age thing, but they were going to have a much bigger problem with the lying thing, which, fair. I was grounded for 3 weeks. No car. Phone in the kitchen by 9 p.m. The specific indignity of being 17 and having a phone curfew that is enforced by a charging cable plugged into the kitchen outlet next to the spice rack. But here's the thing they told me during that conversation that recalibrated the whole experience. My dad said they had spotted me at the restaurant almost an hour before I saw them. They'd watched us for a while. And my dad, who I have always understood to be a precise and intentional person, had taken out his phone and texted me, "How's studying going?" while looking directly at me across the restaurant. "Why?" I asked. I actually needed to know. He said, "I wanted to see what you'd say." I had said, "Good. Almost done with the cell biology unit, LOL," with a smiley face, while eating pasta 11 tables from my father. He knew. I lied anyway, with enthusiasm. That single data point was, I think, what moved the punishment from a conversation to 3 weeks of phone in the kitchen. Not the boyfriend, not the mall. The confidence of the lie, delivered in real time to someone who already knew the truth. 3 weeks later, grounding over, car keys returned, I found out through my cousin that my parents go to the same mall every few months. My mom's nail appointment is always on a Saturday, always at 2:30, always followed by dinner on the second floor because they like that Italian place. They have a routine. I had accidentally inserted myself into their routine and never known it existed. This is not revenge in any dramatic sense. But I want to tell you what I did with that information. About a month after the grounding ended, I asked my mom casually, over dinner, very light, just chatting, what she and Dad were doing the following Saturday. She said, "Oh, I've got my nails at 2:30, then we might grab dinner." The usual. I said, "Cool, have fun." Then I texted my dad at exactly 3:15 that Saturday, when I knew, based on their routine, they would probably be seated at Trattoria, something on the second floor, and said, "Hey, how's dinner going?" He did not respond for 11 minutes. Then he sent back, "How did you know we were at dinner?" I said, "Just a guess." He sent back a single emoji, the eyes one. My mom texted me 2 minutes later, "Did your father put you up to this?" I said no. She said, That was the whole conversation. At dinner that night, my dad looked at me across the table for a second, and then just slightly, barely, smiled. Neither of us said anything. We ate. That was it. It wasn't justice. It wasn't even really revenge. It was just, I see you seeing me. We both know. Nobody has to say it out loud. And somehow that was exactly enough.
Wow. Honestly, the fact that her parents stayed quiet and watched the whole thing play out is what makes this story so uncomfortable. And that final text she sent back to her dad later? Not gonna lie, that was kind of genius. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more late-night teen confessions and real anonymous stories. This is Teenage YT Stories, and I'll see you in the next episode.